Trisha, what is the
So dumb.
Trisha, what is the force that causes objects to fall to the ground?
Girl, you better.
I know this because my titties are low thanks to gravity.
Yay! A personal anecdote.
Can we just also say we don't actually need gravity? But that's a different thing.
What
Like,
do you mean by
I
that?
saw someone do this. Was this a TikTok? We were watching something where someone's like, we don't actually need gravity. We were watching this with me. Like, we actually don't need it.
What do you mean that we don't need gravity?
What if it was never invented?
Invented by who?
Sir Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton created gravity?
Whoever created gravity, someone did, but we don't actually need it.
There
Like,
was
we
a
could have
time
just all.
There was a time on Earth before gravity existed?
Yes. Who created gravity, babe? Dan.
It was Isaac Newton. You're right.
You were in the
it.
right ballpark. Sir Isaac Newton perhaps first defined and discovered
Maybe-
gravity. He
What do you
didn't
mean we don't
invent
need gravity? I'm curious about that
We just
statement.
don't need it.
But like, what do you mean?
The moon doesn't have gravity.
It does. All bodies, all celestial, all bodies,
All
you
mass.
have gravity.
Anything with
In
mass
fact,
has gravity.
In fact, some would say you have a sizable amount of gravity.
What's that mean? I'm fat? You're calling me fat
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Oh.
attractive. Thank you, Moses.
Well, you're fat.
We've got quite a large pay dispute happening with our Australian women's soccer team at the moment. Is it frustrating for you as someone who's so prominent in your sport? And we heard you say on the Ellen show the other day you are the richest fighter in UFC, that sort of thing is still going on?
I think that how much you get paid should have something to do with how much money you bring in. I'm the highest paid fighter, not because Dina and Lorenzo wanted to do something nice for the ladies. They do it because I bring in the highest numbers. They do it because I make them the most money. And I think that the money that they make should be proportionate to the money that they bring in.
Because that's all guys want. All guys want is pussy. Swear to God.
What?
No. Let me rephrase that. Shitty men want pussy, and that's all they want from you. Hire guys that are worth more, that will benefit your life more. They're not just gonna want pussy from you, and that's a fact.
Or could it be that the men that only want sex from women is because that's all that the women have to offer? Because for me, if pussy is all you're offering, pussy is all I want.
Yeah.
Just like, you know what? How many times you've gotten to a club into VIP for free when some ugly chicks had to pay full price?
Is that my fault?
No. I've asked how many times it happened before you go down that path.
I mean, plenty of times in Miami.
Exactly, but that's not fair, is it?
Well, please don't forget I'm not from here.
But that's not the point, ma'am. That's not fair, is it?
I also don't care about those things.
But so you only care about fairness when it doesn't benefit you.
I just don't go to clubs that often.
But that's not the point. I asked you, how many times you've gone to a club where you got in for free, where ugly chicks or less attractive chicks had to pay? And you know that's happened. You didn't say, I'm still, excuse me, sir. Even though I'm attractive, I demand that you charge me full price. You're okay with the double standards that benefit you. But the ones you don't like, you just throw at the wind, use sign language, shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right to deflect and dismiss guys who are normally intimidated by this thing. I'm not. I'm just challenging your positions. You're okay with it not being fair when it benefits you.
Michael, do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people?
Mm-hmm.
Mothers? Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What are they if they're not mothers?
They're pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
Does it bother you to use inclusive language?
Well,
It's just interesting
I prefer to use precise language.
It's interesting because you come into this conversation, trying to hold this moral superiority, but then
I try to be moral when I can, but
Right, but when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language,
To include
and
who?
it seems to include people who don't, identify as women but can become pregnant.
So, like a person who's born a woman and then identifies as a man
Mhm.
and is pregnant.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that in order to be a moral person, I need to accept the idea that a man, someone who is born a man and looks like a man, can really become a woman. That's a prerequisite of my being a moral person.
I mean, yes. To me it is, because if you are trying to deny someone of their identity and deny what their life experience is, then that doesn't seem like a moral stance to me. I want to be accepting and I want to respect people's life experiences and respect the way that they want to identify and respect the way that they want to present themselves to the world.
Bronte, I would
Yes.
like to identify, I do identify actually, as the correct person on this issue of abortion. I identify as being correct and more correct than you on this issue. And I would just ask that you accept and affirm my identity.
She